Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Rama. Hare Krishna, Prabhus, Matajis. Please accept my humble obeisance of Prishti Srila Prabhupada. I'm doing a video and a sound check. Can you see my screen and hear me properly? Someone please confirm.
Yes, sir. We see your screen and we hear it. Hare Bol, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prakash Prabhu. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaivam Narottamam Devim Saraswatam Vyasam Tato Jayatamudirete Nashtaprayashu Bhatreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttamashloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtukim. So today we're going to be reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd Canto, Chapter 13, Text 50. It is the last shloka of this chapter. Also, incidentally, today is the last day of the month. But when we are talking about spiritual topics, there's no first, middle, ending. Krishna says that he is the start, he is the middle, he is the end also. So whenever we're talking about Krishna, it's literally being in that moment with Krishna. So I think it was Prabhupada who once said that, it is wherever, it's like an ice cream cone. Wherever you taste it, whether you taste it from this side or this side, any side you taste it, it will always be sweet. So now I'm going to link up to Veda base. I hope you see my screen. Ko nama loke purushartha sarvet pura kathanam bhagavat katha sudham apiya karnam jalibhir bhava paham aho virajyate vina naretaram. Ko nama loke purushartha sarvet pura kathanam bhagavat katha sudham apiya karanjali bhir bhavapaham aho virajyate vina niritaram. Ko nam loke purushartha saravat pura kathanam bhagavat katha suddham apiya karanjali bhir bhavapaham aho virajyate vina naretaram. Synonyms, translation, and purport. His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada, Prabhupada Ki Jai. Synonyms: ka, who, nama, the, loke, in the world, purushartha, goal of life, sarvat, one who knows the essence of, Pura Kathanam of all past histories, Bhagavat, regarding the personality of Godhead, Katha Suttam, the nectar of narrations about the personality of Godhead, Apiya by drinking, Karana Anjali by oral reception, Bhava Apaham, that which kills all material pangs. Aho, alas, Virajyata, Virajyate, Virajyata could refuse. Veena, accept. Nara Ittara, other than the human being. Translation. Who, other than one who is not a human being, can exist in this world and not be interested in the ultimate goal of life? Who can refuse the nectar of narrations about the personality of Godhead's activities, which by itself can deliver one from all pangs, from all material pangs? Perfect. The narration of the activities of the personality of Godhead is like a constant flow of nectar. No one can refuse to drink such nectar except one who is not a human being. Devotional service to the Lord is the highest goal of life for every human being, and such devotional service begins by hearing about the transcendental activities of the personality of Godhead. Only an animal, or a man who is almost an animal in behavior, can refuse to take an interest in hearing the transcendental message of the Lord. There are many books of stories and histories in the world, but except for the histories and narrations on the topic of the personality of Godhead, none are capable of diminishing the burden of material pangs. Therefore, one who is serious about eliminating material existence must chant and hear of the transcendental activities of the personality of Godhead. I'll read this again sentence. This is the theme that we will focus on for today's class. Therefore, one who is serious about eliminating material existence must chant and hear of the transcendental activities of the personality of Godhead. Otherwise, one must be compared to non-humans. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purpose of the third canto, 13th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled The Appearance of Lord Varaha. Om Ajnantimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padapanabam Shri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvikam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parichana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Krishna Bhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriya Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyaya Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, good morning, welcome to today's Bhagavatam class 3:13:50. So what our learning focus is going to be is first we'll differentiate between jivas. Jiva is a living entity, human and animals, right? And the reason we do it is so that we can understand what our goal of life is. Next, we'll study how the narrations of Katha, Lord's activities, is linked to the goal of life. And then a little bit, we'll do a deep dive into characteristics of persons who are interested or who just don't care about listening to Krishna Katha. I'd like to offer my obeisances to His Grace Gauranga Darshan Prabhu. His class, I was listening to his lecture, which has helped me prepare for today's class. So you can go to audio.iskondesiretree.com and do a search Gauranga Darshan Prabhu and put in the text number 31350, and then you can listen to the whole lecture. Very nicely done. I'll make a small attempt of sharing the knowledge with you. So first, let's understand differentiating between humans and animals. What does differentiate mean? It means to recognize what makes someone or something different. In one way, it can be linked to dharma, the essence of a particular person. Now, the essence is more fundamental, which becomes generic across, the entire class. So in that class, there is variegativeness. So how can we understand, how can we recognize uska pehchan kya hai? So that is differentiating. So with this in mind, let us understand we are all jivas, and this is standard, we know it. So it will be a repetition. It's good to repeat, because when you repeat it often, it just gets ingrained not only into our mind but also into our consciousness. We are part and parcel, infinitesimal part of the infinite whole. Infinite whole, we call him Krishna. A characteristic is Satchitanand, though it's infinitesimal, infinitesimal. It is Satchitanand. Sat means eternal, always existing. Chit is full of awareness, knowledge, and Ananda, full of bliss. Satchitanand. This is who we are, Jiva, the living entity. Also, countless jivas are across the creation, not just the material creation, but also in the spiritual world. There are 8.4 million species, right down from the amoeba to the highest and the most developed form. Form, when I'm talking, is about the external covering, which we call this body, the gross body of the five senses, and the subtle body of the mind, intelligence, and the false ego. So like this, we have 8.4 million species. In fact, there are about 400,000 of human species. Now, human species, we make classifications just at base of the physical traits, but it's not just physical, like someone may be a black person, a Caucasian, an Oriental, different types of races, ethnicities are there just based on the physical characteristics. However, it's not limited to physical, it's also mental and the spiritual consciousness, how it is being developed. So like this, there are 400,000. And what is the human being? A jiva. It's a pleasure-seeking entity, anandamaya vyast. That's what it is. It's a pleasure-seeking. Instinctively, that's what we are. We are very blissful entities, and all we're looking for life is anything and everything that we do. You can finally figure it down why we are doing it is for improving the status quo. So this is the jiva. Now the jivas can be classified. Again, one point to note that when we are going to be talking, it's going to be about jivas in the material condition. Jivas in the physical and the spiritual context, similarities are there, but their consciousness, their mentality is different. So a jiva is, there are two categories: human, who is the highest, and then there is the animals. Animals include land, air, water, and the hybrids, water and land also. Now, what is this characteristic? So if you see of the human being and you see of the animal, both are jivas. They have these common characteristics, which is on the left side of the screen, right? Anandamaya Abhyas and countless, part and parcel. So everyone is part and parcel of Krishna. But a human being has a superior intellect. Now, if you see, it's exactly diametrically opposite. whereas the animal is inferior intellect. Humans, because we have an superior intellect, we are very rational. Rational means we can figure it out, whereas an animal is instinctive. He lives by his instincts. We are rational. We can think, we can plan ahead, we can understand, we can figure things out. Even animals can do it at a very little or a limited capacity, but they're more instinctive, they're more reactive, whereas we can act on something. So being rational, we can ask these questions: who am I? What's my purpose? Animal doesn't do that. All the animal thinks about is eating, sleeping, mating, defending. That's all he's focused on, the animal. But we can go above and beyond that. We can question the status quo, uh, because this what we're doing is for our betterment, like what I mentioned earlier. Having this privilege of having a superior intellect, which helps us to be rational, right? B, only the humans are bound by karma. Karma is action and reaction. An animal is not bound by karma, he is karma free. What happens in the circle of spiritual evolution, birth and death, that cycle, an animal from the lowest form after his death will always progress to the next higher form, till he reaches the human form of existence. Now, in the human form, there is that choice because of our rationality, our superior intellect. Either we can continue to get out of the circle of material birth and death, or to remain over there. And that is what karma decides. So here, a human being is always traveling up or down depending on his activities. He could either go into a lower species of life, or he could go into a higher species of human existence. Like as I mentioned, there are 400,000 types, or he could completely get out of this cycle of material and go back to Godhead. So keep this in mind, the human and the animal. These are broad characteristics that we're talking about so that we can differentiate. Now, what is the goal of a life? So what does goal mean? Goal is basically a destination or a journey, an aim, what we are looking to outcome. That is what the goal is. So for that, we have to understand who we really are. First thing, to know goal of life, you need to know pehchan kya hai. Then we know who we are. Then we say, okay, this is the goal of our life. Who are we, right? So who are we is Aham Brahmasmi, I am the spirit soul. Anandamaya Bhas, they already covered it. And also understand this very important point. We are controlled, because in the earlier slide you saw we are part and parcel. Part and parcel, infinitesimal part of the infinite whole. The whole controls the part. This hand of mine is part of the whole body. My intellect controls this mind. My mind controls this hand, correct? So if I say make it a fist, it will make it a fist. Show a thumb, it will show a thumb. It is controlled. It is not independent. Who we are, whom we mistakenly think, this is who we really are, correct? The controlled entity. Who we think we are the controller. So instead of Aham Brahmasmi, it is because of a false ego that Ahankara comes. Ahankara is, in one sense, an arrogance. Ahankara is also that mistaken identity, the false sense of I-ness. And I think I am this body. I identify with this body, this external covering of mine. We sing this prayer, correct? After we offer bhoga. Sharira avidya jal. The sharira, this body, correct? It is a network of ignorance. All the senses, etc., is further, just like a fisherman's net. We get caught into it. But we think we are the controller. What we do, because of this condition, the mistaken identity, what we do, we become self-centered. I'm the controller, so I'm in the middle. I mean myself, mine. We are self-serving. What we're doing is we're serving for ourselves only. And that becomes a disconnect. A disconnect from whom we really are. We are the control. The part is meant to serve the whole, but here the part is trying to serve itself. So that is a disconnect, a disharmony. And whenever there is a disharmony, there's always destruction. So if you see, we always are in a destructive mode. We may not realize it, but we are destroying. Now, for our gross senses, we can see the war is going on in Ukraine. Russia is throwing bombs on innocent civilians, correct? And there's destruction. We see on TV the images of all these buildings. Once upon a time, they were beautiful. People were living there, going about their daily lives, and it's all destroyed. It's all destroyed, destruction. Like this, not only physical things are getting destructed, but also our mental imbalances there, our spiritual, our consciousness. It's just being destructed. Literally, every breath that we take, every thought that we're having, every word that we're speaking, every deed that we're doing is all destructive. It's destructive in one way or the other. Momentary pleasure is there here and there, okay, but still it is at the intellectual and the mental level. Very, very, very occasionally, there may be something which is for the spirit soul that we are feeding for the spirit soul. I was having a thought this morning when I was having a bath. You know, we clean ourselves, we clean the body. We have mouthwash, we have brushing our teeth, we have hair wash, body wash. We also have a car wash. We take a car for the wash. But what about the spirit soul, who we really are? You know, what about the spirit wash? What is there? Of course, there's another type of spirit that, you know, we all people wash. That is the alcohol. They're called spirits, you know, and we wash it, guzzling it down. More damaging to that. But the spiritual soul, what about that wash? And that wash is the katha. Just consider katha, you know, activities about Krishna, the God, and his associates, the Vaishnava. That is a washing. They're washing all the contamination which has been accumulated. So this is what we do because we mistakenly think who we are. Right? What should we be doing really? That's what we do. But what we ought to be doing is from self-centered, make it Krishna-centered because he's the part, we're part of the whole, he's the whole. And the path is meant to serve the whole. So serve the whole. When this happens is we are in alignment. And whenever there is alignment, it is a constructive situation. It is constructive. Otherwise, it's all destructive. Only destructive. So keeping this in mind, what is the goal? To get here to the goal, we have this realization of the self. Understand who we really are. This green little square over here. That is self-realization. Then once we understand who we are, we can properly engage the self in activities. We have to act. The soul is not an inert, it's an active element. It's an active phenomenon. It can't remain, it has to act. So we need to know who we are, then we'll be able to act properly in a constructive manner. And that's where the liberation of self happens, getting out of this circle of birth and death. How do you do it? Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam. Simple, just these three. And all these three are interconnected with each other. Shravanam, listening. It starts by listening. Prabhupada in his Purport has said, right, the oral, the nectar is oral reception. So Shravanam, Kirtanam, talking about it. You speak about it, you listen about it, you think about it. That's how we get to what our goal of life is. So what is narration? Narration is Shravanam Kirtanam we're talking about. Narration it comes to give an account of somebody's activities. Now keep in mind that there are many narrations you hear on the news. They're narrating the news. News is always breaking. You just put on any news, any channel. Breaking news, breaking news, breaking news. And especially if you go to India, the news readers and the anchors, they get so excited. You know, जैसे कि किधर आग लगी है. Common news. I remember a long time back, I was in India, Prime Minister Manmohan Singh, he had got the Prime Minister post. So one reporter went and she asked, I said, what's happening? Kuch ho gaya kya? He got a heart attack or something. And then finally her question was, she's asking Manmohan Singh's wife, कि बहन जी, आपको क्या लगता है? कैसे लग रहा है? She wants to ask a question, how do you feel that your husband has become the prime minister? I think it's a stupid question. So this, you know, sweet little lady, she just shrugged her shoulder and kind of chuckled and said, "Acha to lagega hi na." So, you know, it's breaking news. They try to make it sansanit. They try to make it exciting. Breaking, breaking, breaking. But actually what it is breaking is it's breaking our consciousness. Just listening to that, it really becomes overwhelming. But we always get caught in it. Hey, what next now? Kya ho raha hai idhar, kya ho raha hai idhar? So narration is basically to give an account of something that's happening, activity. However, when it is in relation to katha, that is, katha is nothing but narration of the Lord's activity, his associates' activity. It touches that spiritual platform. We start getting spiritual experiences. And as you get spiritual experiences, a spiritual development, our consciousness starts awakening. Currently, it's in a coma. So this katha is like someone is shaking us up from that deep sleep. We start developing it. And once it starts developing it, our understanding, our realization, our appreciation, it becomes relishable, nectar. That is that nectar. Currently, like Prabhupada says, when you're in a jaundiced condition, sugarcane juice, which is the cure for jaundice, is extremely bitter. But as you still continue taking that sugarcane juice, as you keep drinking more and more of that sugarcane juice, nectar, very sweet, that jaundice condition reduces and we understand, this is so sweet. Now, what do the Guru Sadhu Shastras say? How do we become successful? Our goal, our aim, our outcome. How do you do it? Okay. Drink nectar through the ears. We drink through the mouth, but here, spiritual context, drink through the ears. Okay. Krishna Katha, I've used the abbreviation KK, is obvious and the only way. So we can understand it's really very simple and reasonable that Krishna Katha is the only way to get out of this birth and death. How it does it? It cuts the knot of material existence. So when we are listening to Krishna Katha, as I told you, it's like a spiritual wash. It is cleaning away everything, just cutting through all that filth which has been accumulated over lifetimes. Who doesn't want to remain clean? A normal person. Who doesn't want to remain clean? The other thing is, how much ever you hear, you'll never tire. It will keep satisfying you. Why? Because that is unlimited. It is unlimited. We can go for a wash, body wash. We can sit in the bathtub, and all these, especially women, Matajis, they have this bubble bath and everything. Luxury. It's like you can sit in over there 15 minutes, half an hour, maybe 1 hour also. After that, you'll just get tired of it. But this is not the case with Krishna Katha. Purpose of being a human is fulfilled by hearing Krishna Katha. It aligns us into who we really are. And there's also the Vedas that talks about this dharma, artha, kama, moksha. But that really isn't the real purpose. It's just bringing you to a certain level. But that's not the real purpose of the jiva. Then, if we can mold the life in everything that we do, that we become desperate if we don't listen to Katha, then that is a milestone, or that is a benchmark that our life is getting to be successful. However, if we talk, all of us are talking. There's a saying, talk the talk, walk the walk over here. So we really do not necessarily match our words with our action, but we'll talk all the same. It's like a frog croaking. Whenever a frog croaks, that reaches the snake, and the snake comes and eats it up. So the karma, the snake, every word that we're saying is gobbling us up. Even if you don't know about Krishna, you should still glorify. Very important instruction. You should still, whatever you know, whatever little bit you know, whatever you heard, still glorify him. Why? Because it's a tirtha. It's compared. The gurus say that it is, Acharya say it is a tirtha. Tirtha is a place that removes sin. However, listening to Katha removes sinful mentality, the root cause of that sin. So you can remove your sin and, like an elephant, go for a bath and again put mud on yourself. So we can go to tirthas, which are very nice. They have spiritual places, spiritually surcharged over there. We'll feel very good. But the moment we come back to our routine, we're again throwing mud on ourselves. But listening to Katha, it removes that root cause mentality. Now, this is also very important. Hearing katha is important. Making others listen to katha is more important. This is what Madhupati Prabhu, Simeshwar Prabhu do in our Sangha. What are they doing? Morning Bhagavad class they arrange. Simeshwar Prabhu in the evening does Bhagavad Gita class. Then Krishna Namanand Prabhu arranges for speakers on Sunday morning, Sunday. So what are they doing? They are making others speak, listen to katha. They themselves listen. So hearing katha is important. Making others listen to katha is more important. Speaking katha is even more important. Speaking is even more important. And making others speak. You inspire people in such a way that they also start speaking Krishna katha is the most important. Is the most important. So keep this in mind. Listen, invite others to listen, make facilities, arrangements. You talk about it. Don't think, oh no, I'm a neophyte, I don't know. We may think it is a sign of humility. No. Speaking about Krishna is not arrogance. In fact, it is the greatest humility, if you can say, because you're not talking about yourself or thinking about yourself, right? And make others speak. Distribute this. What would you rather be in life? It's like a fulcrum. Interested in Krishna consciousness or not interested in Krishna consciousness? There are these two. Human beings have these two aspects. Prabhupada says dog runs, sophisticated animals. We are sophisticated animals. People not interested. Dog runs on four legs, man runs on four wheels. What do you see? All the time, anything, everything, if you see, there are three major. Like we have the Trimurti, Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Deva, Maheshwara. Correct? For the creation. But what is man looking at? Not Guru Brahma, Deva, Vishnu, and Maheshwara. What he's looking at? Sex, violence, and greed. These are the three things which are controlled, just absorbed in this thing. Whereas a human being, instead of sex, there is love. That's what a human being is. Instead of violence, there is gentleness. Instead of greed, there is generosity. Prabhupada said the perfected state of a gentleman is a devotee. That's who we are, a Vaishnava. Who would we rather be? So I bring this to a close. I've went 1 minute ahead. Thank you very much. Prabhupada's books include Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. Read it, please, discuss it, distribute it. Remember that earlier slide, engaging others, getting others to speak about it is the most important. That's the significance of book distribution. So please read the Shastras. Prabhupada has given everything. The Guru is in his book, the Sadhu, and the Shastra. Any book, whether a small book, Chaitanya Charitamrita, any book, read that. Thank you very much. If there are any questions, comments, corrections, Prabhu's Mataji's, please post it at the WhatsApp Nityam Bhagavad Seva Forum. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Hare Krishna. Madhupati Prabhu, over to you.
Thank you very much, Amritananda Prabhu. As usual, wonderful presentation. Yeah. We'd like to wish everybody a safe and Krishna conscious day ahead. We would like to pray to the Supreme Lord by chanting 3 times Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Rama,
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Shina Singho, Jaina Singho, Jai Jaina Singho, Radesha, Jaya Padma, Mukapatma Bringa, Ugravira Mahavishnu, Anantam Sarvatomukha, Narsingam Vishnabhadram, मृत्यु मृत्यु नमामि सिंह भगवान की जय
Jai.
प्रहलाद महाराज की
Jai.
Let's offer our humble obeisances to the suit of all the assembled Vaishnavas. Vancha kalpatarubhascha kripa sindhuvaya patitanam pavane Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Vaishnavinda ki jai.
Jai.
Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.
Jai.
Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Gaur Premanande.
Hari 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 Hari.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you everybody.
Thank
Hari
you,
Bol.
Amritananda
Hare
Prabhu,
Krishna.
and the podcast. Thank you, Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.